does have a serving of maca in there as well. So if you are taking serving vega a day, you don't need extra maca. Like I say, you can have more, it's not going to hurt, but that's all you really need to rebuild your adrenal function. So acid alkalines, also very important. So as North Americans, we're actually getting osteoporosis at an earlier age than ever before in history. And the reason for that is not lack of dietary calcium. It originally was thought that was a problem. It's not. It's that we take too much calcium out of our bones. And we do that by eating acid-forming foods. So acid-forming foods are those highly processed foods, the white flour, bread, milk, meat, synthetic vitamins, synthetic drugs, soda, basically a standard American diet. Anything in a standard American diet is going to be acid-forming, whereas a more natural, whole diet is going to be more alkaline forming. So what happens when you eat acid-forming foods? The calcium, which is highly alkaline, gets pulled out of the bones into the blood to keep the blood at a neutral pH. But you can imagine over the course of 1, 2, 3 decades, if every meal and every snack you have is acid-forming, it's going to lead to pretty weak bones. So that's why people get osteoporosis, because of eating this acid-forming diet. So we're seeing people now in their 20s who've actually got signs of osteoporosis who've grown up on a standard American diet, and that's the reason. So the best thing you can do for your bones is eat more alkaline forming. Now the most alkaline forming foods there are the green foods. Anything with that deep green pigment, spinach, kale, any kind of lettuce, broccoli, seaweed is a great one too. Spirulina, chlorella, which are algae and are in vega too, are highly alkaline forming. So what happens when you have those is that your body just has no need to pull calcium out of the bones. So keep your bones strong. Another huge advantage to staying alkaline is a reduction in inflammation. And that's what got me interested in the first place. When I started eating more alkaline, the ability for me to move was so much greater. My flexibility got better, my efficiency got better. If you think about all the muscle contractions in a 10K, a marathon, a triathlon, it's a lot of muscle contractions. And if everyone is easier, if you don't have to work as hard to move your muscles, you conserve energy on every single contraction, you're going to have more energy. So your threshold improves because your heart rate goes down, so you become a better athlete because you're more efficient. So that was dramatic. Within 48 hours, I noticed a bit of an improvement from when I swapped out an acid-forming diet, a more standard diet, to a highly alkaline, plant-based diet. So even if you're not an athlete, you think of all the muscle contractions throughout the day, just walking across the room, you're using your leg muscles. And if you don't have to work as hard to do that, by the end of the day, you're not going to be as tired because you're more efficient. So something to consider for sure. Just a good way to get more energy is to create a more efficient body. You can do that by staying alkaline. You'll notice too, if any of you have tried Vega Health Optimizer, even the berry flavor is green. And the reason it's green is because of all the chlorophyll from the chlorella, from the hemp. And that's a sign, kind of a visual cue of how functional it is and how alkaline forming it is. So definitely a good thing. We do have a sport protein too that I can talk more about later if you're interested, but it's for athletes specifically why it's called sport protein. So it's alfalfa protein, spirulina protein, hemp protein, pea protein, rice protein. So all these good plant-based alkaline forming proteins that help reduce inflammation right after a workout. After a workout, you're going to be inflamed. That's normal. You break down muscle tissue, whether it's an endurance run, an endurance training session, or strength training, it doesn't matter. It still breaks down muscle tissue. Last thing you want to do is give yourself something that creates inflammation, like an isolate, like a whey isolate or soy isolate. Even though those are very common types of protein, I don't suggest them, even though I used to eat a lot of soy protein isolate because I didn't know about acid forming and how that all worked out. But an isolate is exactly as it sounds. It means the protein has been isolated from the carbohydrate and fat, meaning it's not a whole food, has a lower net gain, harder to digest, harder to assimilate, more acid forming. So I switched over from soy protein isolate to hemp protein, and that made a big difference. I also added pea protein or rice protein to balance out the amino acid profile. Some of you may know hemp is a complete protein, so it's an excellent protein, but I noticed in it that 2 amino acids were a little bit lower. One is called tryptophan, that's really important because it's a precursor to serotonin, helps improve mood and mental clarity, so it's good to have that. So that's why I added rice protein. Rice protein is very high in tryptophan. And those two are a bit lower in something called glutamic acid. And glutamic acid is an amino acid that's also very important because it helps convert carbohydrate into energy. A lot of people find that they put on weight when they eat carbs. Reason for that, well, there's two reasons. One, they often eat a lot of refined carbs, like I talked about before, but things like fruit and pseudograins, if you're eating those and you have enough glutamic acid-rich foods in your diet, you will not gain weight because the glutamic acid turns that carbohydrate into energy. So you have more energy, plus it's not being stored as fat. So I added yellow pea protein to the formula for that. So any lentil, legume, bean, or pea, anything from that family has glutamic acid in it. And of course, most North Americans don't eat those foods. So most North Americans do tend to gain weight when they eat carbohydrate because they don't have the glutamic acid in their diet, in food source to help make that conversion. So hemp protein, pea protein, rice protein is the base of a protein in vega. Health optimizer, which is over there, and also the sport protein for those reasons. So can definitely help a lot that way, just getting all that. But you don't have to overthink yourself either. You don't have to have each of those at every single meal. Like if you have lentils one day, you have some brown rice the next, you have some beans the next, all that's fine. Your body can sort that out. You don't have to have it all at every single meal, but in vega obviously just makes it a little more convenient. I'll take some questions pretty soon, but I will tell you about something that's on the back of the brochure that you all got. It's a little web series that I put together. It's called Thrive in 30. And it's something that you enter your email, you get 3 emails a week for 4 weeks, and each one has a concise video segment, just me talking about the ideas that are in the books, a lot of what I talked about today. And I did that because some people, obviously, they learn better visually. They don't like to read as much. They'd rather just watch a video clip. And because it's just a way to get it to a broader audience. And I realized that people who need the information in these books the most are the ones who are probably least likely to actually read them. So it's just a good way to get information to a broader group of people. So feel free to sign up yourself. Like I say, it is free, or pass it on to anyone who you think can benefit. And Leslie mentioned too, as she was introing me, there is a Cornell course that's through their online affiliate that is available now. If any of you are interested in some more formal, accredited education in this kind of field, you can get a certificate online from Cornell now. And it's a certificate in plant-based nutrition. And it was started by the Cornell professor named T. Colin Campbell, who wrote a great book called The China Study. And I teach one of the modules within that called Elite Athleticism and Plant-Based Nutrition. So you can go to my website, BrandonBrazier.com, and scroll down there and click on it on the page, and all the info about that comes up too. So that's an option as well for more info. But we will have samples of everything here tonight too, so you can try that. And yeah, I'll be around after as well to sign some books and answer more questions. But if you have any questions now, I'd be happy to answer some.
Well, I've been doing the performance protein, and then actually just got the optimizer, performance optimizer. Is that after a workout, the optimizer?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so there are 2 types of Vega Sport right now. There's a pre and post-workout. So Vega Sport Performance Optimizer, which is the one on the top, the smaller one there, is the pre-workout.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant, the pre-workout, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pre-workout, and then the protein is post. So general rule, you want carbs before a workout for fuel, and you want protein after to rebuild and repair. If you've ever been to the gym and you smell some people sweating and that really strong pneumonia smell, that smell. Yeah, that
There's
smell.
some people that are worse than others.
Right, and the reason for that is because they've had too much protein before the workout. So then their body has to convert that into carbs for energy, and it can do that. But the byproduct is that smell in the sweat that smells like pneumonia. And that's common for a lot of bodybuilders. They're scared of carbs. But carbs are good. Carbs are fuel. So carbs before a workout, they burn clean. Converting protein is called burning dirty. And then that byproduct is the smell that you smell when you sweat.
So then along the line with that, how, before the workout would you say to do the optimizer?
About 20 minutes before.
20 minutes?
Yeah, around 20 minutes. And it's whole grain organic sprouted brown rice and palm nectar, so you get immediate and sustained energy
Okay.
through the carbs. And there's green tea and herba mate as well that helps. Yeah, so it helps prevent muscle glycogen from being burned quickly in the muscles, and it helps your body burn fat as fuel. So it extends endurance by doing that. There's also ginger and turmeric that reduces inflammation. There's electrolytes. There's rhodiola that helps dilates blood vessels, so more blood can be pumped through your body with fewer heartbeats. So heart rate comes down and your performance improves. So there's a lot of different ingredients that helps boost performance overall. There's even kombucha culture, which is a bacteria. So that helps relax muscles, helps digestion. Relaxed muscles obviously move more fluently. You don't have to work as hard to move them. So that's a big benefit as well.
Can you talk about your, sorry, anybody listening, questions? The oil blends?
Yeah, the oil, there is vega oil blend as well. So it's a combination of hemp and flax oils are the main two oils. The raw, organic, cold pressed oils. What makes it really unique is the antioxidant blend of oil, so green tea seed oil, pomegranate seed oil, and black cumin seed oil. So very high in antioxidants. And athletes need antioxidants even more because, of course, the more you breathe in, the more oxygen you're breathing in, and the more oxidative stress placed in your body. So it's a really good all-around oil. I make salad dressing with it. So I have about 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. If I'm exercising a lot, it'll be more like 2, but if just kind of general, 1 is enough. But yeah, just putting it on, you don't want to cook with it. It's this sort of thing that heat will damage, so you can add it to food, but you don't want to cook with it. So yeah, salad dressing works really well.
Okay.
Sure.
Can you use any of those products in a race?
Yeah, so
Drinks?
during the race, yeah, Vega Sport Performance Optimizer, like I say before, it's really good, but also during. So if you're doing a long run or long bike ride, yeah, it's really good, like in place of Gatorade, like, you know, a healthy version of
So
Gatorade
you think
essentially.
it holds up in the heat okay, or?
Yeah, you've got a few hours with it, for sure.
I mean, like Ironman?
Yeah, it'll hold up okay. Vega Health Optimizer, because it has probiotics in it, it doesn't hold up as long. But yeah, it works well. Those gels, there's energy gels that I make as well. The recipes are in the book, so those work very well for longer races as well. What I do for longer races is mix a quarter serving of Vega Health Optimizer with coconut water and have that and sip that throughout. I find that works really well. And I have the gels and I have the Sport Performance Optimizer too. So those are good for during.
And then something like for the run, that's gonna be all right, sitting out there in T2 for like 6 hours waiting for you to come get it, it'll be okay?
Well, for me, yeah, it will be fine. But for the run, for me personally, I have the gels on the run. But yeah, it will hold up okay. Yeah.
You said earlier that you have to take a break from exercising.